Hello everyone, March W13 here, and now that we've entered the month of December with less than 25 days to Christmas, I thought it would be nice to take a look at something to help us count down to the big day. That's right, you may have guessed, what I have spread across the coffee table here is a series of Advent calendars. Now, the word Advent itself denotes time Christians spend preparing for Christmas, which of course is a celebration of the birth of Christ, and it signifies the beginning of a liturgical year. Advent calendars were originally invented to help celebrate the passing of Advent by marking each day during the Advent season with numbered flaps or windows that can be opened to reveal an item or a message of some sort. Advent usually starts on different dates on different years, sometimes in late November, other times in early December. This year, for instance, it starts on November 29th. And since Advent calendars evolved into heirlooms to be reused year after year, when Advent starts on different dates each time, most Advent calendars now have windows labeled 1 through 24 or 25, which are intended to represent the days of December. So we start interacting with our Advent calendars on the first day of December instead of the actual first day of Advent. And like everything else Christmas related, Advent calendars have become greatly commercialized and now often lack the explicit nexus to their religious origins. But their very concept will always be rooted in Christian tradition to some extent. Now, from my perspective, there are essentially two types of Advent calendars. Those that dispense items of some sort, almost like Happy Meal toys, if you will, and those that don't feature physical items but may offer something non-physical. To be more specific, of those that dispense items, it is quite common to find food like candy, traditionally for the children, but there is also a whole slew of non-traditional food offered in specialty Advent calendars these days, like hot sauce, jerky, and even treats for cats and dogs. And if it's not a food-based Advent calendar, there is a nearly infinite array of other possibilities, from toys to cosmetics to jewelry and beyond. And as I mentioned, in those calendars that do not dispense physical items, you'll often find pictures or fortune cookie-sized words of wisdom or excerpts of a larger story or poem. So that's my best synopsis of the world of Advent calendars. Let's say we jump right in and look at some real-life calendars I have before you. So the first one we have features cats singing Christmas carols. And as you can see, there are numbered windows here from 1 to 24 in no particular order, as is the tradition. And if we find window number 1 to be opened on December 1st, we have both a picture and the first line of "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." So I imagine that each day will progress further in a more cat-themed version of that famous story. This one has a slightly different form factor from the previous one in that it converts into a three-dimensional pop-up when you open it. And indeed, it's called the Traveling with Santa Pop-Up Advent Calendar from the Metropolitan Museum of Art, the Met, in New York. Now, we all know that Santa has to visit millions of homes around the world in one night, and he probably accumulates a lot more mileage than you or I. So a travel-themed calendar is a great way to commemorate that, with this pop-up calendar set around a beautiful traditional winter town. So when we open each window, we find scenes from American greeting cards from the 1940s and 50s, showing all the different ways Santa delivers gifts. Moving on now to our first food calendar, a chocolate Advent calendar commemorating the Nativity story. And it's adorned with cherubic angels surrounding a nativity scene, with boxes labeled 1 to 24. And when we open a numbered window, we receive not only a gift-wrapped milk chocolate, but what I imagine is a line from the nativity story, which will progress as you open each window in order over the course of the month. Continuing with the food-based calendars, we have a Schlünder Stollen Advent calendar from Deutschland, Germany. And as you can see, this one appears to depict a German Christmas market scene. It's got booths for Räucherkerzen, which are incense cones, Striezel, a kind of knotted bread, Krepelchen, a type of Schmalzkreben or lard yeast cakes, Herrnhütersterne, which are Moravian star ornaments, and there's a reference to Elbflorenz, a nickname for the city of Dresden, and we see its famous Frauenkirche at the Neumarkt. And that's all great, but when we open a window, we get an individually wrapped bite of Stollen in apple, cherry, marzipan, and almond flavors. This one's almond, of course. Stollen being a sort of German holiday fruitcake, and Schlünder being German's most famous brand of Stollen. Now, we're not going to open this next one, but I just wanted to give you an idea of the possibilities of other food-based Advent calendars. And this one is from Bonne Maman, the French purveyor of jams and jellies. You might find Bonne Maman in your local supermarket, but odds are you won't find 24 flavors of it. And this calendar has individual single-serve jars of pretty interesting varieties like apricot lavender, fig cardamom, grapefruit dragon fruit, lemon yuzu, and strawberry verbena. Now, moving away from the food, we have a fully commercialized Advent calendar, this one featuring Legos, and it is Star Wars themed. This Lego set actually contains 311 pieces spread across the 24 traditional Advent calendar windows, so it has some figures as well as some mini-build toys that you have to assemble, like the Millennium Falcon and a TIE Fighter. So if you like Star Wars, Legos, or Lego Star Wars, this might be the Advent calendar you're looking for. And finally, I just wanted to show you an alternative to Advent calendars that provides a similar experience in the sense that you have a set of stories or activities that you can consume every day in December until Christmas. And these are storybooks. This one tells the story of the Bible, presumably the Old Testament leading up to the first coming of Jesus. And you can see that the books of the Bible are covered in broad strokes. And it starts, of course, with the story of creation. And as you can see, these are presented in a pretty short form. And then this book from Disney also contains one story per day leading up to Christmas. And as you can see, it does a pretty comprehensive job of covering a different piece of Disney's vast universe each day, including stories from the more recent Pixar animation days, but also classics reaching back to Disney's roots in the first half of the 20th century. And the stories are illustrated, and they're clearly a bit longer than those that we saw in the biblical storybook. All right, everyone, thanks for joining me as I explored some Advent calendars. I hope you enjoyed them, or at the very least, learned something about this tradition. So until next time, happy holidays. Much like an Advent calendar, I'll be publishing a different video every day leading up to Christmas. So until tomorrow, then, please be safe. Goodbye, everyone.